Yes, peace, royal family, Hotep and Amun Ra. Yeah, it's been a while since I've been live, so just gonna give it a couple minutes to see how many people show up, and we're gonna get off into this subject. So yeah, just give me a minute, okay? So do a little sound check here, okay? Oh, okay, just a minute, okay? Okay, all right. Got the lights, camera, lights, camera, action. Okay. Yes. Peace, brother. Yeah, Hotep, sister Taylor Made. Hotep sister. Welcome, welcome. Yes. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna give it a couple more minutes. See if people show up. But yeah, we're gonna get right off into the subject. Now, this here is an open panel, okay? Open panel discussion. I will not be showing any sources or anything like that, but I just had to do this live stream. So I can let my subscribers and everybody know that, what's going on with me and how I feel about the situation that's going on. Yeah, Hotep, sister May 2001, Hotep sister. Yeah, welcome, welcome. Glad to have you in the house. Yes, peace, brother Joey Ray Jaquez, peace. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yes, so we're gonna get off into a discussion. About history, identity, and all that. You know, that subject, that's being ignored right now. It's pretty much being ignored, and no one is telling the truth about it. So, yeah, but for those who come along, yeah, I will, inform you on the subject, what's going on. All the newcomers, but yeah, we're gonna get off into it. Yeah, because okay, so now we're gonna get started. Okay, yeah, peace, royal family, peace, royal family. Hotel, welcome, everybody in the building. So, yes, my situation, um, yeah, concerning my situation, things have been crazy. You know, we live in the hard times. We got inflation going on, and it's so many deaths, so much deaths going on, man. So many people getting killed. I have some deaths in the family, and I'm lucky to be here. I'm lucky to be here talking to you, so I'm fortunate to be here talking to you, you know, being what's going on right now, so I'm very grateful for that. But yeah, and I've been working my day job, so it's been a lot going on, and but I'm hanging in there. I'm hanging in there, and I'm trying my best to get this truth out. You know, uh, your sister May says sorry to hear that. Condolences. Yeah, thank you, sister. I really appreciate that. Yeah, yeah. This has been the death year. Last year, this year is the death year. A lot of people dying, so be careful out there. It's a lot of death going on. A lot of viruses and a lot of people going crazy. Coming up behind people, shooting them in the head. Yeah, I mean it's crazy. It's crazy out here. So yeah, just give me a minute. think there's something wrong with my connection. Let me see here. Yeah, so my internet can work better. Okay. Yeah. Uh, yeah, we're gonna get off into this discussion. You know, there's a lot of lies going on in this community, and you know, and I used to go on certain platforms and chat with them, build with them, but I no longer go on those other platforms because I found out a lot of those guys, man, they're fake, they're dishonest, they don't respect my knowledge, they have no respect for me, and I no longer go on there because it's embarrassing. You know, I refuse to be associated with fakery and fraud. I'm sorry, I just can't. So real scholars really don't go on those panels anyway. They just go on those panels and they talk a bunch of lies and lies and trash and just garbage talk, and they never show any sources. And what they're talking about, it's not based on any sources. So yeah, so I that's why I don't go on there. Yeah, so yeah, I believe I can be heard since Sister May heard me say um mention the deaths of my family. So but yeah, let's get off into it here. I just want to okay, check my sound here, okay, and get off into the subject. Okay. All right. Let me see here. Okay. All right. Seems like everything is all good. Everything's all good. Okay. Let's get it. Yeah. Also, I'm gonna throw my cash app out there. Yeah, this cash app thing is new to me. Because YouTube, when it first started out, it didn't have all this. YouTube is changing. They and actually YouTube is encouraging us to you know to upgrade our platform. It's appreciated. Yeah, because I give a lot of videos. Yeah. Yes. A lot of the videos I do is for free. You know, just certain videos that I certain information that I had to pay thousands of dollars for. Such as translating ancient texts and all that. You know, that's the information I'm going to be charging for. I'm going to be putting on my Patreon. You know, because I have to pay a lot of money for that information. And I had to do some traveling as well in order to get that information. But even for that, I'm not charging that much. 10, $20. I know the average person, y'all get paid what 300, 400, $500. It's not gonna hurt you to, spend 10, $20 every once in a while. But most of my information and most of the videos I make will be for free. It's just certain videos I will be charging for on my Patreon. So if you really support me and you want to know the information, then go to my Patreon and become a member. And a lot of the information I'm going to be getting out for free anyway, but I just put it on Patreon so that you can be the first to see it. So that's how it works. Yes, and this information is very important because there've been a lot of lies being told by these pseudo historians, in the so-called these other platforms, the so-called big league or HOK. Those guys been lying their butts off, man. So yeah, yes, peace, brother, my art forever. Yeah, welcome. Yeah, and and I don't know, I can't associate with that platform. I can't. I thought about it, but I just can't be associated with those guys, man, because they don't believe in real history. They don't. Like most of their history and everything they teach is coming from the white racist institution. You know, it's coming from the English language. It's not even derived from the ancient language. And they try to act like they don't know, but I'm telling you, they don't know. You know, and this question, okay, yes, this question of the descendants of the ancient Egyptians, who are they? Who are they? The truth is right there in your face. And it's right there. You, you just got to find it. You got to search for it. You know, you're not going to get the truth from those guys. Those guys on the HOK and in the Dagger Squad. I've been on Dagger Squad before. Garfield. He kicked me off, but that guy, I can't associate with him because he's a dishonest person. I seen him literally show a text, lied about that text, destroyed it. He destroyed that text. I mean, dishonesty, 100% dishonesty, and he hid the truth from the people. I've seen him do that. And a couple times I joined his platform and confronted him about that, and he got mad and kicked me off. But that's what he do. All those guys, man, they will sit up there and they will destroy a text. They do that text no honor. And that's why they're not qualified to teach. Because the first qualification you have to have in order to teach this is honesty. Okay? You can do all the research you want. You can know all the metadata you want, but if you lack the honesty, you're not qualified to teach. And that's just how it is. But yeah, so I'm gonna ask the question. You can post it in the chat. Who do you think are the descendants of the ancient Egyptians? You know, um, who do you think? You be honest. Just say you don't know, or you think it's the modern Egyptians. I'm telling you right now that it is the true descendants of the ancient Egyptians are the African Americans and the people in sub-Saharan Africa. And I'm telling you that based on my sources, because everything I speak is based on sources, you know. Yes, Sister May, yeah, Sister May got it right. She said it's us because according to the history, the real history, okay, real history, I will get off into that later. But according to real history, the descendants of ancient Egyptians got lost. Okay, they talk about this 12 tribes, this lost 12 tribes of Israel. No, they never got lost because even Israel, it's mentioned in the New Testament. The Jews, or Judah or Judeans, they still exist in the New Testament. But guess who don't exist in the New Testament? The Egyptians. They got lost. When I say they got lost out of Egypt. They were no longer in Egypt. They were no longer in Egypt. That's the truth. And the truth is, I'm gonna tell you the truth, okay? And now I'm unable to show you sources and all that because I don't have my live stream. But when I get my live stream back, I'm going to be showing sources and I'm going to put the link out for anybody to join. But this is the regular YouTube live stream, so I'm not able to do that. But and it costs $20 a month to do a StreamYard. Yeah, StreamYard live stream. So when I get my StreamYard back, I'm going to be showing sources and all that. Yeah, and but everything I'm telling you now is based on sources. So everything I'm saying now, you will see when I show you when I do those live streams. But yeah, we definitely gonna get it in. Oh yes, yes, because I'm going through a lot right now. I'm moving in a new apartment, and I'm just trying to get get settled and get back situated, and whenever I have time to go live, I go live, But yeah, now back to the subject. Okay, the descendants of the ancient Egyptians were no longer in Egypt. They left Egypt over 2,300 years ago. And so far as it goes for the modern Egyptians, yes, I'm definitely going to get into that subject, and I'm going to show my sources on the modern day Egyptians. Okay. It is impossible for the modern day Egyptians to be descendants of the ancient Egyptians. Impossible. Yes, it is impossible. And those who say that, they are lying to you. Okay. You have some of these fake geneticists going around telling you that the modern Egyptians are the descendants of it, and the question I always have for the geneticists, according to what? Okay, because when you make that claim, you make sure you say according to genetics, so people can get the ideal, not according to history. You have to distinguish history from genetics. Okay, and these geneticist guys, they spit in our face as historians. They spit in our face, and they try to put genetics before history, and put genetics as if genetics is the sole authority on history, and it's not. If you want to be, if you want to be truthful about it, genetics should not even be in the discussion. It shouldn't be in the discussion. Genetics should stay within genetics. Keep genetics in the science lab. You can't mix it with history, especially with ancient history. Okay? Can't do that. And for those of you who do that, you're dead wrong. Okay? And but yeah, back to the subject. And the word genetics, okay? Some of you should know this. I'm gonna teach you something right. Genetics derives from the ancient Greek word genos. Okay? Genos, that's where genetics derive from. Even the book of Genesis, okay, which speaks of generations. That's an ancient Greek word. It derives from genos. It means genealogy or race. So if you're going to deal with ancient genetics, why not deal with that? Why not get off into the ancient text instead of selling people these lies and white racist opinions? Because that's what it is. When you get off into the haplogroups and all that, that is a chart made up by white racists, and they still debating on who is who on that haplogroup chart. They're not even sure or who is who. So that is irrelevant. It is irrelevant. Okay. Now a lot of these guys, okay, I'm going to answer your questions, because a lot of these guys, they can't answer your question. Only a real historian can answer that question. Who are the descendants of the ancient Egyptians? And I feel like I'm one of the only real historians, because if in order to know what a real historian is, you have to know the etymology and origins of that word, history or historian. If you knew that, then you would know what a real historian is. And a real historian can easily answer that question. If you can't answer the question who the descendants of the ancient Egyptians are, you're not a real historian. You're not. You're not qualified to be a historian. You know, and you have to know the language that the word history derives from in order to be a real historian. So yeah, this is just a discussion, you know, and black people. Okay, now I'm gonna tell you what I'm seeing, and it's hurting us. It is hurting us. Black people, you have to stop selling out your identity. You have to stop crediting your history to others. Okay, and we see a lot of that within the Hebrew Israelite community. with where they have this fascination for Asia, and they want to try to connect Asia with Africa, and I even heard some people say that the Indians are the descendants of the ancient Egyptians. Come on, are you serious? That has nothing to do with history. That is non-historical. That is myth. Okay, because even when you get into the real history, it says that the Indians 2,000, 3,000 years ago, the Indians stated that they never sent out a colony and they never received a colony. So that means that they had nothing to do with the foundation of Egypt, and they have nothing to do with being descendants of the ancient Egyptians. You know, and that is a fact. I know our people. You have this fascination with Asia, and you gotta let it go. Okay, our people, we are on the bottom. Okay, and even if we was on top, we still cannot sell out our identity. We can't credit our identity to others because, first of all, it's lying. You're lying when you do that. Okay, and when you're on the bottom, you can't afford to do that because you got all these other people. They know who they are. The Indians, the white man or the white American, the European, they know who their ancestors are. The white American, he's a descendant of the Western Europeans. People called the Gauls, the Celts, the Germanics. That's the true ancestors of the white American. But being that Egypt is so great, he wants to steal Egypt too. Because Egypt, your identity, your true history, he wants to steal because it's the greatest history in the world. And you got to take it back. You got to take it back. Okay. Now, for those of you who say that Egypt or Kemet is it's not a ancestral lineage, it is something like a religion. No, I disagree with that. Okay. Okay. Now you can say it's a religion to the European and the Arab and the Arab, or to the non-African, but to the African, to the descendants of African, it is a lineage. It is a ancestry that we have to take back. Okay, because I'm gonna tell y'all right now, the truth is in one source. Yeah, the truth to that question, who are the descendants of the ancient Egyptians? It is in one source. And you have to know the language to that source. And it is the language that succeeds the Medu Neter, that comes right after the Medu Neter. See, a lot of these guys, a lot of these what I call fake, they like to skip over history. You know, they like to skip from the Medu Neter and jump all the way to the English, the modern day language. And they skip the part in the middle. And they just, and they just tell you their lies and their opinion. No, don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. Okay. But yeah, because this subject, okay. Now, when it comes to the subject of the race of the ancient Egyptians, the black Egyptians, that is the argument we already won. That is an argument that I single-handedly defeated 7 Phoenician 7 on. That's why I don't even entertain that anymore, because we already know that the ancient Egyptians were black. They were black. There's nothing that can refute that. That is an argument we already won. Okay? And you have this one guy, I'm not gonna say his name because I don't want to make him seem important, because he's not that important. He's going around saying that he defeated 7 Phoenician 7. Okay, and he's a pseudo geneticist. And if you're in the community, you already know who I'm talking about. Okay, he's saying that he defeated 7 Phoenician 7, and he has no videos to prove it. and he's not even giving credit to the real person who actually defeated Seven Phoenician Seven. You know, and Seven Phoenician Seven, she's he or she, you know, they're gone. I mean, I hope nothing bad happened to her. I wish death on nobody. I hope, I hope she's still alive. But yeah, but I defeated Seven Phoenician Seven. Okay, we won that argument on what race were the ancient Egyptians. That is an argument we already won, and we don't have to, keep repeating the same argument. It's time to move on to another subject. A lot of these guys on these other platforms, they bringing up their argument. And it's like, man, these guys are Johnny come lately. That is an argument we already won. And we have to step it up a notch. Because we have to gain power. We have to grow as a power so we can protect the blackness of ancient Egypt, because it is under attack. It is under attack by these white racists, going in, putting these artifacts in the museum, you know, trying to eliminate the color off the artifact, trying to whitewash it. And we just can't trust them. We can't trust them. And that's what's going on. And that's why we have to, as direct descendants of the ancient Egyptians, we have to be responsible for that. See, but you have to know you are a descendant of the ancient Egyptians. You have to know that. Okay. Okay. Now, what you have to understand is, we as Africans today, we have to stand united as a brotherhood. Okay, as a brotherhood and as descendants of ancient Egyptians. Okay, because like I said, a lot of these guys, they don't know the history. That's why they speak the ignorance they do, because you have to know the history, and you will know that the descendants of the ancient Egyptians were in sub-Saharan Africa. When I say sub-Saharan Africa, I mean south of Egypt, southwest of Egypt. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. And our ancestors in West Africa dwelt southwest of Egypt. Simple as that. Simple as that. There is nothing to refute it. And when I say the truth, the history I teach is the truth, is the 100% truth. I mean that when I say that, because there's nothing to refute it. There's nothing to refute it but opinions and theories. That's it. Okay. A lot of these guys, when I get my StreamYard, and if any of these guys have the guts to hop on here and have a discussion with me, and I ask them, what is your source to prove what you're talking about? 10 times out of 10, they're not gonna be able to show it. They're not gonna be able to show it, because I already know. I already know. I just answer them. I just ask them that question to see what they're gonna say. You know, and it's a shame. It's a shame. You know, and a lot of these guys, they talking from the sources they believe in. Okay, sources that are not credible, sources that have nothing to do with real history. You know, but the truth is there, and that is what's keeping us down as a race of people. These lies, these age-old lies, is what's keeping us down. Okay. Oh, someone say I'm muted. Hold on. Just give me a minute here. Okay. I'm gonna check my sound. Okay. All right. Uh hmm. Let's see here. Just give me a minute. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Testing, testing, one, two, three. Testing, testing, one,
Okay.
two, three.
Testing, testing, one, two, three. Testing, testing, one, two, three. Testing, testing, one, two, three. Testing.
Okay. Okay. Seem like I'm good now. Okay. So yeah, if you can hear me, just put it in the chat. Holler if you hear me. Okay. Let me know if you hear me. Okay. But yeah, okay, great, great. Taylor May said they can hear everything. She can hear everything. But yeah, you know, and I just gotta keep it real. You know, a lot of these guys, that's why I don't, please, okay, do not call me a scholar. Okay, because that word scholar, I have a problem with that word. Because that's when it comes to scholar, a scholar is someone who is taught, raised, and corrupted in the white racist system called the school. Yes, and a lot of these scholars, they whine and dine and they laugh and talk behind closed doors with these white racists, with their white racist counterparts, and it's like when they teach, their teachings are like pseudo and watered down because they're trying to please their white racist counterparts, you know. But yeah, do not call me a scholar because scholars are the problem. A lot of the scholars are the ones who are lying. Okay, just call me a historian because scholars lie about history. Real historians tell the truth about history. Okay, so that's why I don't be associated. I don't want to be associated with scholars. Okay, because those are guys who graduated from the school system, and they accepted the false teachings of racism and white supremacy, and they never left. Okay, but I'm no longer associated with that. Okay. Yes, yes, peace, sister. Yeah, that is the best way to call yourself. You said it just right. Yes, yes, indeed. Because a lot of these scholars, man, it's like they're so corrupted, and that's why I don't want to be associated with them, because they're lying. Yeah, and like a lot of the stuff, okay, because me personally, I have grown in knowledge, and that's why, you know, um, I have grown in knowledge. A lot of the stuff I used to believe, I no longer believe because my knowledge have grown, you know, and yeah, we had a comment here. Jennifer Akim, she said, why do I spit sometimes? And the reason is because, sometimes I brush my teeth, and I still have that residue in my mouth. So I don't want to swallow that residue, so sometimes I'll spit, because it's not good to swallow that residue, you know. But yeah, but that's not important, but yeah, she she tried to throw me off, but yeah, but we're gonna get back to the subject, yeah, but just that's just like some advice I'm giving you. You brush your teeth, you have that toothpaste residue in your mouth, don't swallow that because it'll make you sick, you know but yeah, that's the reason why I spit sometimes, but just now that that's out the way, now so let's move on. But yeah, I'll never do that in public. I do it, when I'm on the comfort of my home, when I'm chilling out, whatever, but I don't do it all the time. But But that's the reason. So let's get back to the subject. Now, yeah. That's why I say you have to know the language. Knowing the language is important, okay? Because if you know the language, then you will know who the true descendants of the ancient Egyptians are. Okay. See, like a lot of you guys, you want to talk history, but you want to ignore what the sources are saying, you know, and we have to wake up. Okay. We have to wake up. Okay. If you're going to believe in these sources of history, hey, then you got to believe in them. If you don't believe in them, then just leave them alone. Just forget history, forget the whole subject, and just leave it alone. But don't sit up there and tell lies and make up opinions, because when you do that, you're making it worse for yourself. You know. But yeah, let's get back to the subject. Okay. Now, like I said before, when it comes to identities, okay, even whether it's biblical or historical, okay. Now we have to separate biblical from historical as well, because what the Bible says could be different from what history says, you know. And but when it comes to both the Bible and history, both sources say that we are the descendants of the ancient Egyptians. Yes. And I believe a lot of these other guys who pretend to be pseudo, I believe they know this, but they're just not honest enough to teach it and tell it. So when it comes to, entertaining this truth and information, it's like I'm all you got, you know, I'm all you got. Because these guys, they either don't know it or they just refuse to entertain it because of their lack of honesty, but hey, I will entertain it, and honesty level is high, and that's what qualifies me to teach on this. So yeah, people, let's get those likes up. Yeah, get those likes up. We got 10 people in the house. Yeah, press that like button. And yeah, we're gonna get off into the information. And like I said, there's not gonna be any sources shown, so we're just gonna discuss this topic, and but yeah, and and so far as and also I want to address that as well. Some people ask me, why am I charging money? And the people who ask me that, they will say that, well, you shouldn't be charging money, you know, and all those people who said that, they're not even people who support me anyway. You know, they're the same trolls who come on my video and dislike my video, hit the thumbs down button, and troll my video. And I found that out when I did the research on the people who asked me that, and the reason I'm charging money is because there's a lot of truth I want to get out, but sometimes I just don't have the time to do it because I'm working my day job. I'm working my day job. I work hard on my day job. I run my own business outside of YouTube, and if I was to get support, from my subscribers and people on YouTube, I can spend more time on YouTube. I can become what you call a full-time YouTuber, you know, and I can spend less time on my day job, you know. But that's how I make my money, pay my bills, pay my rent, take care of my family. It's through my day job, So sometimes I just be too tired to even do a video or go live on YouTube, and so that's the reason for that, you know. But yeah, I mean, I love YouTube. I love going live. I love doing videos, Even if I can debate sometimes, debating is good, but but my life outside of YouTube is I'm just so busy, and that's why you see like people like Tariq Nasheed and a lot of these other YouTubers. That's why you can see them go live like once a week, twice a week, because they're getting support from their supporters. They're getting support. They're getting financial support from their subscribers. And that's why. But and that's the reason for that. I explained that. But yeah, it's not about any trying to hustle anybody or scam. No, it's just about getting financial support so I can get all this truth out, and I can spend more time on YouTube. That's the reason for that. But yeah, back to the subject. Yeah, when it comes to the descendants of the ancient Egyptians, okay, like okay, now you have some people out there who say that we are not the Egyptians. We are not the Hamites. We have our people. We have nothing to do with the Bible. Do not listen to that. Okay, because there's only one source that is the sole authority on that. Okay, and it is a first century AD source written by a Jewish historian. Okay, okay, yeah, yeah. Jennifer Atkinson. When I started talking about money, the views went down. Yeah, I mean, it was brief. I just wanted to make that briefly known. But yeah, but yeah, maybe they'll come back. But yeah, but back to the subject. You know, a lot of what these guys are telling you, if they're not showing their source, do not believe them. Okay. And the reason why they don't show the source is because their intention is to be dishonest and lie to you. Okay. Just because someone say it does not make it true. Okay. But you're hearing it from the Grand Master teacher himself. Okay. You're hearing it from me. Okay. We are the descendants of the ancient Egyptians. Okay. Now, when you say that the modern Egyptians are the descendants of the ancient Egyptians, okay, you're lying. You're lying, and your chronology is off. Your chronology is wrong. Okay. The people in Egypt today are not the descendants of the ancient Egyptians. The people who were in Egypt 2,500 years ago, 3,000 years ago, they were the descendants of the ancient Egyptians. Okay. But the modern day Egyptians, impossible. Impossible. Okay. Impossible. But yeah, y'all see the views went down. But hey, it's no big deal. I mean, I'm not here. Like I said, I'm not on here for views. I'm here for my subscribers and my supporters. But yeah, but let's stick to this subject. Okay. Okay. Said Jennifer Eckham said he was the powwow's thoughts on a super Egyptian. Yeah, a super Egyptian is no longer. Yeah, a super Egyptian is game over. Okay. I defeated a super Egyptian single-handedly, so you don't have to worry about a super Egyptian no more. His lies has been flushed down the drain. So you don't have to worry about him no more. Seven Phoenician seven gone. But yeah, but back to the subject, when it comes to the descendants of the ancient Egyptians, okay, the modern day Egyptians, impossible. Okay, because first of all, you have to be black. You have to be black to be a descendant of the ancient Egyptian, and you have to be African. Okay, that is a real indicator of who is the descendants of the ancient Egyptians. I can show you in source. Okay, when I say the source, I mean the source where the black descendants of the ancient Egyptians were after the fall of Egypt. Okay, after the fall of Egypt in sub-Saharan Africa. Okay, I mean, there's this big argument about sub-Saharan Africa, North Africa. And I don't mind them calling it sub-Saharan Africa, but be sure to tell the truth about who the people of sub-Saharan Africa were. Okay, and the people of sub-Saharan Africa were the descendants of the ancient Egyptians. Okay, that's who the real people of sub-Saharan Africa were. Okay. Okay. And this lie that sub-Saharan Africa was uninhabited needs to be rejected and dismissed. Okay. Actually, it was the other way around. It was that certain parts of North Africa that was uninhabited, which is the desert, the Sahara Desert. That's the part that was uninhabited, not sub-Saharan Africa. The people in ancient sub-Saharan Africa, they had a name, and it was not uninhabited, and they were known in history. And I did a video on that, and I hope you've seen that video. And the people of sub-Saharan Africa, they were known as Ethiopians. And you have some of these guys who troll my page and try to say that when the ancient Greeks mentioned the Ethiopians, they actually dwelt in North Africa. No way. Nice try, but not so fast. No. There's no way in hell you're going to tell me that the Ethiopians dwelt all the way in North Africa. When the text and the history does not say that. When you deal with Ethiopians, you're talking about all the way to the south, beyond the Sahara Desert. That is the territory and land of the Ethiopians. Okay, and that is what history says. Okay. And when we deal with Ethiopians, we talking about all of sub-Saharan Africa. Okay, from South Sudan and from modern day Ethiopia all the way to Senegal and Guinea on the Atlantic Ocean. That is the real Ethiopia. Okay. That is based on the truth. That is based on the source. Okay. So, and for those of you who say that modern day Ethiopia was not Ethiopia, you're lying. Okay. Modern day Ethiopia is Ethiopia as well. It is included as Ethiopia. Everything south of Egypt and south of the Sahara Desert was Ethiopia, inhabited by Ethiopians. That is a fact. Okay. And if I have to go to the source and prove you wrong, then you're in trouble. Yeah. But you're hearing it here. Okay. You're hearing it from me. Okay. Not this fraud, Garfield, Dagger Squad. If you want the lies, you want to hear the lie, you want to hear some fake history, you go over there. If you want the truth, you come over here. I'm going to tell you the truth. And if guys, if they got the heart to come on here and debate me, hey, bring it on. Because I already know you have no truth. I've been on these guys' platforms. I'm not afraid to go on their platforms. It has nothing to do with fear, but I can't be associated with fakers and frauds. I can't. It's embarrassing. It is embarrassing. It is. Okay. Now, back to the subject. Now, when we deal with who are the descendants of the ancient Egyptians and who is who in the ancient world, if you come from these three parts of Africa, you have a ancestry in both the history and Bible. Okay. If you come from East Africa, Egypt, Sudan, Ethiopia, your ancestors are mentioned in the Bible. If you come from the interior of Africa, your ancestors are mentioned in history in the Bible. If you come from West Africa, your ancestors are mentioned in history in the Bible. The only part of Africa that was not known in ancient history is actually South Africa. That was like the really, because it was so far south, but everything in West Africa, East Africa, Interior Africa, it was known. And the people had a name, they had a title. Okay. Now, some of you may say, well, the slaves, okay, and I'm going to do live streams on that, on the origins of the slaves, okay, who the slaves were, the slaves that were taken in the Atlantic slave trade, okay, because some of you may say, well, the slaves were Muslims, and they were not Egyptians. They weren't, talking that Kemetic stuff, and they were Muslims. They were saying Allah. Well, guess what? The people in Egypt today and the people in Sudan, when the slave trade was going on in the 1500s, they were also Muslims and Christians as well. So don't try to sit up there and act like when the slaves were being taken from West Africa, the people over there in Egypt was still had a pharaoh, or were still worshiping Amun Ra and the gods of Egypt. No, they were Christians and Muslims, just like the Christians and Muslims in West Africa. Okay, that's what you have to understand. And but yeah, the slaves. Now, let me tell you something about the slaves. Okay, the slaves who were taken from the Atlantic slave trade. Like, a lot of these guys, they're not telling the truth about the slaves. Okay, the slaves taken from the Atlantic slave trade, they had a mysterious origin. They were not the same as the people in West Africa today. They were not. Okay, a lot of slaves, they were not Yoruba. They were not Wolof. Okay, they were not Fulani. They were not Mandingo. They were known as the slaves, and they had their own mysterious origin. If you know the history, then you will know who they are. They are the people of the writings. They're the people of the text. Okay, and like a lot of the Muslims who sold the slaves into slavery, they like a lot of the West Africans who sold the slaves to the Europeans, they were Muslim, and some of them were Christian, and they were religious, and they saw the slaves, the people who were being taken as slaves, they saw them as pagans or infidels. Okay, and these infidels, or these non-Muslims and non-Christians, they were the descendants of the ancient Egyptians. Yes. Okay. Now, when we deal with Ham, okay, Ham, we're gonna get off into that. Okay. And when I do my live streams with my StreamYard, I'm gonna show you the sources. But the descendants of Ham. Now you have to know why they stopped calling us Hamites. Okay. They used to say in their writings that we are the descendants of Ham, and they try to connect us with the curse and all that. Okay. And when it says the curse of Ham, or that's in the Bible. Okay, the Hamites were cursed in the Bible, but in history, we were the most powerful and most blessed people in the world. So that's why you have to distinguish what's in the Bible and what's in history. That's why I go with history. And according to history, the Hamites. Now, who are the Hamites? Now, I know you have some fake historians. They will tell you that uh, nobody knows what Ham means. But if you go to the book of Psalms, it tells you Ham is the land of Egypt. And to make it more interesting, if you go to the Septuagint, okay, the Greek Bible, it doesn't say Ham. Okay, the word is Kam. Yes, the Septuagint calls it Kam, and Kam is Kemet. This is where the Ham story derives from, and I'm going to make videos showing you how the connection between Kemet, Cush, Misrahim, and Foot, all of those are Kemetic words. That's where the story derives from. Okay. So when we deal with the biblical Ham, it's talking about Egypt and the dispersion of Egypt all through Africa. When it says Ham was the father of Cush, that is the Egyptians going south into Cush. Okay. Ham is the father of Foot and Canaan. That is the Egyptian expansion to the west and east. That is where the story derives from. It's in the Meta. It is in the Meta. And they're not teaching you this, okay? So that's why we have to distinguish the historical Ham from the biblical Ham, okay? And if you pay attention, the historical Ham is where the stories of the Israelites originate from. When it says that the Israelites were above all nations, chosen people of God, that is referring to the historical Hamites, which were the people of Kemet. Yes. Kemet, Ham, Cam, it's Egypt. I didn't even know that when I first started out, when I was a novice. So a lot of you see me change my teachings. That's because my knowledge have grown. And you sit up here and you just now coming into this, and you're a Johnny come lately, and you think you know it all. And when I disagree with you, when I tell you you're wrong, you're trying to say that you try to call me dumb. You're trying to say that I don't know what I'm talking about. When I'm trying to correct you in your lies, because a lot of the stuff you say is what I used to say. A lot of stuff that some of these novices and some of these beginners are saying now, that's what I used to believe. But now that my knowledge have grown, I no longer believe that. And that's why like I'm very controversial. I no longer believe in many of the teachings that's being taught today. And that's because my knowledge have grown, and yeah, but a lot of these guys, man, they're walking around teaching the same thing. You know, they teaching the same thing that they was taught when they first got into this. Their knowledge hasn't progressed. Say, for instance, my brother Sarah Sudan City. I got respect for Sarah Sudan City. He's been on this platform as long as I did. And some of his channels got shut down. But the problem with Sarah Sudan City is he does not know the language. He is still teaching in English. He doesn't know the language. And if you don't know the language, your knowledge is not going to progress. But a lot of things I used to believe, I no longer believe. When it comes to I used to believe that Ethiopia wasn't Kush. I no longer believe that. Ethiopia is all of Africa, south of the Sahara Desert and south of the Nile Valley. That's what I used to. That's what I know now. Okay, when I was saying that it was in Kush, that's what I used to believe. And there's some knowledge that will really knock you guys off your feet. It will knock you off your feet. If I told you some of the things that I really know, some of the new knowledge that I gained, you would call me pseudo. Yes. Yes, because my knowledge has progressed, and some of the things I tell you, because you're not aware of it, you're gonna call me pseudo. But hey, it's all good, because A lot of what's being called real history is actually pseudo history, and what's being called pseudo history is actually the real history. But yeah. But yeah, back to the subject. These guys, man, they're lying to our people. Like when I had a debate with on Sister Naftali channel, it was a 3-hour debate on who the Hamites were. Okay, and in that debate, they they pretty much ignored my knowledge and the truth I was giving to them. But their whole method of proving they are Israelites is entirely wrong. You can't prove you're an Israelite with curses and prophecies. That does not prove you are a Israelite. It just proves that you're cursed. That's all it proves. And like even some of the prophecies that are mentioned in the Bible, it is credited to other nations in the Bible besides the Israelites. And the Israelites, they were Israelites before Deuteronomy 28. So you can't prove with Deuteronomy 28 that you are an Israelite. So then the question comes, how do you prove it? You prove it just like the Bible proves it. Just like the Bible says that Jacob is a descendant of Isaac and Abraham, or the children of Israel who left Egypt, according to the Bible, were descendants of Jacob and Abraham. That's how you have to prove who your ancestors are in the Bible. You can't get around that. Because if you say that you are a descendant of the Israelites because of the curses and prophecies, then that is not fair to the actual people who were the descendants of the Israelites 2,000, 3,000 years ago. They were the real descendants of the Israelites, not you. Okay? The same way they proved it, you have to prove it that way. Okay? Now, so, and being that the Bible is for the Israelites and not for anybody else, it's going to, and as an African, it's going to be kind of hard to prove it in the Bible, but it's there. You can prove it within the Bible and history. And the method you have to use is, and this is a method I'm going to stress, you have to use geography, history, and genealogy. That's what you have to prove. It's simple as that. It's easy. I can show you that with a map. Okay, just a map of showing you who was who in the Bible and in history. Just a simple map. None of that prophecy, Deuteronomy. That's why no one is taking these guys seriously, because they're going about it the wrong way. And like some of them, they will try to say that Zephaniah 3:10 is talking about West Africa. No, it is not. Zephaniah 3:10 is referring to an unidentified location. It says beyond the rivers of Ethiopia, beyond the rivers of Cush. Where? Beyond where? No destination. Where's the destination? Now, if I said beyond the rivers of Cush, towards the west, towards the south, then you will have a destination, and then you can pinpoint what that is talking about. But you can't pinpoint what that's talking about. So it's it's unidentified. But you have these guys like Zion Lex who will tell you that it's talking about the other side of the no. Because even if you go west of the river Kush, there's 3,000 miles of land. Okay, you have West Sudan, you got Chad, you got Niger. Okay, you got all the way to Senegal, and yeah. And if the verse has said beyond the rivers of Cush towards the extreme west, then you can say that's talking about West Africa. But the scripture does not say that. Okay, it does not say that. Okay, now I'm going to tell you this for free. Okay, I'm going to let you know this right now, and I'm going to show a source later. I already showed sources on some of my other videos where you can check out. But the people in West Africa in the Bible dwelt in the land of Foot or Libya. That's West Africa in the Bible. Okay, not beyond the rivers of Cush. That is talking about all the land west of the Nile River. Okay, and if you're trying to find your ancestors in history in the Bible, that's where it's at. Okay, and that is our ancient Egyptian in Kemetic connection to history in the Bible, because all of those words are Egyptian words. Cush, Libya, all derives from the ancient Egyptian language. That is what the ancient Egyptians called the people who were already there, and they called them that because they lived amongst those people. That was their territory that they conquered and settled at. That's what they don't tell you. Okay. See, and it is silly. Okay, and that's why I am disgusted at a lot of these so-called um, Kemetic scholars who claim to know the Meta Netter, but they don't believe in what the Meta Netter say. The Meta Netter clearly tells you that their boundaries to the east, west, north, and south was the ends of the earth. Okay, when they say towards the south, and they say, oh, well, just talking about Kush or Napata, that land between the fourth and the third and fourth cataract. That is the farthest south the Egyptians went. No, it's not talking about that. Okay, the land between the fourth and fifth cataract is not the ends of the earth. When it says the ends of the earth, it is talking about a coastal region. Okay, and when it says towards the ends of the earth to the south, it's talking about the Horn of Africa or the land of Punt, is what they called it. Towards the ends of the earth to the west, it's talking about the Atlantic Ocean. Okay, towards the ends of the earth to the east, it's talking about the Persian Gulf and the Tigris Euphrates region. That was their eastern boundary, and this all connects. The Bible, the Meta Netter, all that history, it all connects, and these guys are not telling you the truth. Yeah, and when it comes to the Meta Netter, I know some Meta Netter. Ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics. It is a difficult language to learn. But I do know Greek. Okay, and Greek is it's a easy language to learn. Meta Netter, it is a difficult language. But yeah. But yeah, we're gonna get back to the subject. Okay. All right. Now, when I tell you that it is impossible for the modern Egyptians to be the descendants of the ancient Egyptians, what do I mean by that? Okay. First of all, they have no pharaoh and no dynasty they can lay claim to. What dynasty you descend from? Because if you're saying that you're a descendant of the 18th dynasty, then that's not fair to King Tut and the sons and daughters of King Tut, who were actually descendants of the 18th dynasty, and the people of Egypt who were living in Egypt during the 18th dynasty. So the modern day Egyptians really don't know who they are. They don't know where they come from. But what we do know is that their ancestors were foreigners from the Middle East, mostly from the Middle East. Okay? That's what we do know. And like even after the pharaonic dynasty of Egypt, okay, you had the Greeks came in, then the Romans, then the Arabs, and they can't even claim that because that ended a long time ago as well. Say if the Romans had stayed in control and say if the Roman dynasty had survived in Egypt and they were never attacked by the Arabs, by the Arabs in 641 AD, and they were still here to this day. Then the people in Egypt today can say, yeah, we are the descendants of the Roman dynasty, the descendants of the Caesar dynasty or the Byzantine Empire. But they can't do that because that dynasty ended a long time ago. Okay? Okay? So if you say you are a descendant of the ancient Egyptian dynasty and the pharaohs, then what dynasty? What pharaoh? Where's your Medu? Why are you speaking Arabic? That's your language, Arabic. And before Arabic, the language of Egypt was Latin or Roman. So it is impossible for modern Egyptians to prove they are descendants of the ancient Egyptians. It's impossible, you know? And that's why, in order to answer that question, you have to know the whole history from the first dynasty all the way up to now. From the first dynasty to the last native Egyptian dynasty, the 30th dynasty, and all the foreign invasions all the way up to now. And then you can answer that question. And I will say that the only dynasty we can credit to the modern day Egyptians is the Ottoman Turk dynasty, because that's the last dynasty that ended before the modern day Republic of Egypt was established. That was founded by Gamal Abdul um no not Naguib Muhammad or something like that. And but he was an Arab. And people try to say, well, this is when the native Egyptians took back Egypt. No. During the 1952 revolution, no. That is when Arabs took over Egypt. Because the guy, Naguib or Muhammad, whatever his name was, he was an Arab. He had an Arab name. He spoke the Arab language. He even looked Arab. Man. So pretty much, common sense ought to tell you, if you look Arab, you speak Arab, okay, you're an Arab. If you got an Arab name, you look Arab, you speak Arab, you're an Arab. Okay, and we have to accept the fact that the descendants of the real Egyptians were long gone. They're in sub-Saharan Africa now, because that is where the last pharaoh fled to, sub-Saharan Africa. And that is the truth we have to accept. Okay, that's why I'm only going to have this discussion here on my platform, because I can't be associated with these other guys, man. I mean, they talk so much nonsense and they disrespect my knowledge, and I can't be associated with them. But yeah, okay, and that is the truth about that. Okay, the descendants of the ancient Egyptians are in sub-Saharan Africa, meaning south and west and southwest of the Nile River. They mixed in with those people in sub-Saharan Africa, and they became sub-Saharan African. They no longer continue the ancient Egyptian culture. And that's why you don't see the ancient Egyptian culture surviving in Egypt today, because the descendants of the ancient Egyptians were long gone. They did not get extinct. They left. They're in sub-Saharan Africa, and they're in America. The African Americans who came from sub-Saharan Africa. That's who we are. That is what the evidence says. And I'm going to show you that when I'm able to show you the sources. When I get my StreamYard back, I'm going to show you that. Yes, they've been lying to you. I mean, I don't know how you want me to say it other than they've been lying to you, you know? And but yeah, so when it comes to these identities, you know, they're not being taught properly. You know, they're not they're I mean, the guys who are teaching this history to our people, they're doing it a dishonor, okay? And they're lying to you. And some of you you just can't accept that they have lied to you. And I'm telling you the truth. You know, and you look at me like I'm the one who's lying because I'm going against what they told you. You know, well, not all of you, but some of you that who disagree with me. But yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, when it comes to the Bible, when these guys, a lot of them, they even claim to don't believe in the Bible. But when they entertain what's in the Bible, they only entertain it when they can lie about it. See, when you tell the truth about it, they can't entertain it. They can't entertain it if they tell the truth about it. And that's the strange thing about these guys, man. But when I entertain it, I tell the truth about it. You know, and that is the proper way. And like I said before, yeah, like I said before, you have to know the language, okay? Like the word used in the Bible and in history as well for son. So, say if the Bible says the sons of Israel or the children of Israel or Isaac or Isaac was the son of Abraham or Abraham became the father of Jacob. Don't you know that word used for father also means ancestor? And the word used for son also means descendant. Okay? The Hebrew word used for son is ben. So when they say ben, children of Israel, it's saying ben Israel. And the word used for father is Yalad. Okay? When it says Abraham is the father of Isaac, it says Ibrahim Yalad Isaac. Okay? Father of Isaac. But that word also means ancestor. And the word used for son also means descendant. So the same word used for children of Israel is the same word used for son. Okay? So when you see the children of Israel being taken into captivity by the Assyrians in the year 700 BCE, okay, 700 BCE, the children of Israel are laying claim to a people who live 1200 BCE or 2000 BCE during the time of Abraham. Okay, because that word means descendant as well. Okay, they're still calling themselves the children of Israel when Israel is already dead, or when Jacob is already dead. But they're the sons and children of Israel. Okay, meaning that they're not directly his son, but they are the descendants of him. And the same goes for West Africans and African Americans. It says it right there in the Bible. We are the sons of Ham, the descendants of Ham. Okay? Misrahim was the father of Libya, the father of the people to the west. Misrahim was our ancestor. That's what you have to understand. Okay? And that is the importance of knowing the language, because knowing the language, you can trace who your ancestors are in history and in the Bible. Now, when it comes to the Bible, I have my disagreements with the Bible. Right? I really don't buy into the flood story and the myth. I say that the real genealogy or the historical genealogy of the Bible starts in Genesis 10, because that's where we start to see words we see in history, such as Ham or Kam, Cush, Assyria, all that. That's when it gets historical, like the events that take place after the flood in the Bible, and that's what I see as the historical genealogy of the Bible. And that's why most of the time I start there, you know. But yeah, and also, okay, also I have to stress this. Yes, I have to stress this, okay? This is something I have to stress, okay? The genealogies and the people in the Bible in history really has nothing to do with the people who were there, prehistoric times. People who were there 50,000, 100,000 years ago. Those were the people who were already there. The people in the Bible is talking about a migration of people coming from Egypt and Israel in the Tigris Euphrates region, and they mixing with the people who were already in those far away lands. Okay, that's the truth when you keep it in its historical context. There were people already there. Like when I speak of the ancient Egyptians migrating into sub-Saharan Africa, there were people who were already there. Like when the Egyptians mentioned the Cushites, those were the people who were already there. And the Egyptians mixed with them, and they later became the Ethiopians, because that's talking about all ancient Egyptian territory. And this is according to my knowledge. This has nothing to do with what somebody else believed. You know, but yeah, the truth is there. The truth is there. And but the problem is the dishonesty of these other so-called pseudo scholars. So pretty much that's why I have no association with any of these guys. Because these guys, they're all saying something different, and they're all lying. You have some of them saying that we're West and Central African. You have the Moors. We had all these groups that came amongst our people and deceived our people. You have the Nation of Islam, okay, telling our people that we are from the tribe of Shabazz, and talking about Yaqub and all that. And you had the Moorish Science Temple saying that we were Canaanites. We Moors and we Canaanites, we Israelites, and they just saying we're everything, all over the place. Now you got these guys saying we're West and Central African. Nobody never came into Africa, when even the West and Central Africans disagree with that. Because when you go into the early records of West, it says that people came there from the east, and the people they referring to is from Egypt. And the most interesting thing is this passage from this book titled the Tariq al-Fatah, or the Tariq al-Sudan, where it says that the ancestors of the Songhai Empire in Yemen is Africa, or Far East, or whatever you want to call it. That is what they're talking about. But because they were Muslims and they were Islamicized, they called it Yemen. They wanted to see themselves as coming from Yemen, because They were Muslim. They spoke the Arabic language and they adopted the Arabic culture. But when they say they came from the East, it's actually talking about Egypt. You have to understand that, okay? Because Yemen is not far east of West Africa. Yemen is east of East Africa across the Red Sea, but east of far east of West Africa. But yeah, I'm gonna get this book right quick. Yeah, just give me a minute, okay? Okay. Yeah, I'm back. I'm back. Now I wanted to show you guys these books. Okay, this is the book I was referring to. Okay, it's called the Tariq Al Fataj, and this one is Herodotus the Histories. Okay, you got to get those books. Okay, and because this is the early, like one of the earliest records of West Africa. Okay, the Tariq Al Fataj, and but yeah, I'm not going to read anything from that right now, but I will show you when I start showing my sources on what that book is saying. But yeah, those books are very important because Herodotus deals with the after the fall of Egypt. That's what you have to understand. Okay, you have to know the ancient Greek language because that is a language that tells history after the Bronze Age or the fall of Egypt. You can't skip over the Bronze Age all the way to the English language. Can't do that. And that's what these guys are doing. Okay. They're skipping from the fall of the Bronze Age and going straight to so like I even seen like old videos of some of these guys saying we are Israel. But when they gave it up and came over to the Kemetic side, all of a sudden they're not Egyptian. We're not Egyptian. We're not Kemetic. But when you was an Israelite, you was an Israelite all day. You was claiming Israel. So it's like now you come over to our side, the Kemetic side, and say and lie to our people that they're not Egyptian. What's up with that? You know. So and why is this? Because a lot of these guys they have been miseducated. They have not been educated properly on who is who when it comes to ancient Kemet. Okay, and a lot of the teachings are corrupt. And that's why I only teach in the sources I believe in. You know, but yeah, we're gonna cut it short soon. Yeah, I just wanted to do a little quick live here, okay, and let's get some questions answered, okay. But yeah, I want to know some Israelites in the house, okay, and you disagree with me, you believe we are the Israelites, then show your source and prove it. Prove you are a Hebrew Israelite. That's what I want to know. Because I don't play the con game with the Hebrew Israelites, because a lot of our brothers they get caught up in playing the con game with the Hebrew Israelites and entertaining this we are the Jews claim, or the Jews of later times. No, don't prove to me you are a Jew. Prove to me you are a biblical Hebrew Israelite. because when it comes to the Jews, anybody can be a Jew. A Jew is a convert. Okay? A Jew must be distinguished from a biblical Hebrew Israelite. In order to prove you are a Hebrew Israelite, you have to prove it from the Bible. You can't go outside the Bible. You have to prove it with biblical sources. See, but if you want to say you were a Jew, okay, and the earliest mention of Jews in West Africa is dated to the 10th century AD. Yes, no, I want to say the 10th century or the 11th century AD. You can't go no further back than that to find Jews in West Africa. You can't. There were no Jews in West Africa. And to make it even worse, proving you are a Jew does not prove you are a Hebrew Israelite. Okay? So, like, and we can't, and it's hard to determine who the real Jews are or from the tribe of Judah because there was so much conversion. I have records speaking on this conversion. Yes. And like I'm gonna let y'all in on some more truth. The Jews who were mentioned being in West Africa during the 10th and 11th century AD, those Jews were actually Yemenite Jews. Yemenite Jews who came from Arabia and came into North Africa and that part of Africa during the Islamic invasion. Those were Yemenite Jews, okay? And according to the earliest primary source, those Jews, those Yemenite Jews, they were converts. It says it right there in the source. It says one rabbi, a few handful of rabbis, Jewish rabbis came into Yemen and converted the whole nation. And that's where you get these Yemenite Jews, and they call themselves Himyarites or Himyar. So when you hear these Yemenite Jews in West Africa, they're converts. And to make things even worse, these Jews were not even slaves. They were not even the slaves being taken on the slave ships. They were not. They were converts. They were not biblical Israelites. They were converts, and some of them were even and to make it even worse, a lot of them were even Berber Jews, and these Berber Jews were converted by these other convert Jews. So you have Jewish converts converting other converts, convert after convert. And that's the truth. So because there is such a big gap in history of Jews being in West Africa, you can't prove it. Because in order for you to prove it, you will have to show Jews in West Africa during the time of the Bible. Okay, and you will also have to show them in the source that's contemporary with the Bible. And you can't do it. You can't do it. And that's how we know that these guys are lying. But the truth is there. Your identity is there. Okay. And I'm just telling you right now, and I'm going to prove it to you later. I'm going to prove it to you later. Okay. And I already proved it on some of my previous videos, but I'm going to get more in depth into it. Okay. When I start showing my sources. But yeah, it's there. The truth is there who you are. Okay. You just have to accept it and you have to acknowledge it. And you have to, like, even with DNA and all these other fields of study, I don't follow it. I reject it 100%. I care nothing for it. But some of you guys, that is your field of study. That is your area. And you may feel offended when I talk down on DNA and genetics. Okay, but truth be told, DNA and genetics has nothing to do with history. It don't. Like a lot of these haplogroups and all that, They were created to go against history. They were not created to support history, because the origins of it comes from white racist neo-Nazis during the age of scientific racism, your your field of study. But at the same time, you know, try to balance it out. Try not to be so disrespectful where you're trying to make DNA and genetics as the sole authority on everything. Okay, balance it out. Okay, keep it within this category. Don't don't try to say that DNA determines who is who in history. Don't do that. Okay. In other words, don't treat DNA as a primary source or authority on history. You can't do that. Okay. History speaks for itself. History does not need DNA to speak for it. Just like DNA does not need history to speak for it. DNA speaks for itself. So when it comes to history, you have to treat DNA and genetics as a secondary. You can't put it before history. When it comes to history, you have to put history first. Okay? And that right there, it kind of it erases the confusion. You know, but me being a historian, I put history only. And some of you may call me biased, but hey, that's how it is. I deal with ancient texts, and that's where the truth is. And but yeah, I'm about to get ready to close out here. Yeah, we can go a little longer. We can go a little longer. But yeah, but as Black people, as Africans, okay, we must reclaim ancient Egypt. Okay, this is a ancestry for us. The ancient Egyptians went into other parts of Africa. They did not go into Asia. They did not go into Europe. They went into sub-Saharan Africa. Okay, and that is the only way we're going to have a brotherhood. Okay, because if you're not serious about claiming ancient Egypt, Black people, then you're not serious about getting real power. Okay, that's why you see that monument in Washington, because they're trying to steal your history. You have to reclaim it. You have to take it back. Okay, because and the most important reason is because it's the truth. It is the truth. Yes, it's not a lie. It is the truth, and it's the truth that's going to benefit you. Yes. Okay. That's why you have to take it back. Okay. Now you can go out here and march on the streets. Have your rallies and your fake revolutions, but none of that is going to matter unless you have power. You have to have power. You have to take your power back. Black people, we are on the bottom, and we cannot afford to be crediting our history to others. Okay, you got to stop calling the people in Asia and the people in India and Ethiopians. Y'all know some of y'all adopt to those teachings that Ethiopia was Asia. No, I used to believe that, but I don't believe that no longer. Go watch my video, Ethiopian ancestors of African Americans, on my Pharaoh Mitzrayim channel, and I will show you. And on that video, I show you, okay, that the ancient Ethiopians, East and West Ethiopians, were referring to East and West Africans only. It had nothing to do with Asia. Okay, you can't afford to credit your history to others. Okay, because first it is lying and it is hurting you. It's not a benefit. It doesn't benefit you. Okay, so it's like everything gotta fall into place. You have to first reclaim your true identity. And yeah, I put my cash app in the chat. If you guys donate whatever you can, but if you can't, hey, so be it. Just yeah, just keep tuning in. Hit the like button. But yeah, back to the subject. You know, you have to. It is important to reclaim our ancient Kemetic ancestors because the truth is there. Okay, when we get off into the real history, no one else links to it but us. It all points to us. Okay, all this other stuff that's being said is based on theories. Okay, but when we get into the real history, okay, in the ancient texts, it all points to us. Hold on. Yes, it all points to us as true descendants of the ancient Egyptians, and you have to reclaim it and take it back. Yes. Just a minute. But yeah. Now you can believe in all these other fake teachings because I'm telling you right now, man. I mean, I had it up to here with these on these other platforms, these other scholars, man, and I just gotta say it, man, that everything they're saying is all made up. Everything they're telling you about West African history, this guy, home team history, and some of these other guys. That's pretty much the mainstream view of West African history that's being taught is all made up. It's not based on any language, any ancient language. Is based on the English. It's all made up. There's no ancient text. Okay, your ancient connection is to Egypt. That's why you have to reclaim it. And you have all kinds of oral stories on the origins of West Africa, and there's so many of them, and they all say something different. But it's pretty much like you could take it with a grain of salt. You know, it's pretty much all made. And it only applies to the modern day. Okay, the modern day. Like a lot of people in West Africa, they've been converted to Islam, to Christianity. So a lot of their oral traditions were long gone. And they no longer exist. And that's why we have to go by the ancient records. A lot of these guys they scared. They're afraid to admit the source that they're speaking on. I'll tell you right now, a lot of the source, a lot of my information comes from is from the ancient Greeks. I'm not afraid to tell you that. Because the Africans that's mentioned in the ancient Greek text, those are the descendants of ancient Kemet and Cush. And a lot of what's being said about West Africa in the ancient Greek text is coming from the Egyptians. Yes. That's why the Greeks are writing it down because it's coming from the Egyptians. Yes. And a lot of you don't know. Like a lot of these words that is mentioned in the ancient Greek text is what the Africans call themselves. Just like some of you guys, you talk about Nigeria, or we Nigerians, or we Ghanaians. Don't you know a lot of those words? derived from the English European books? Yes. Like a lot of the titles you hear from of West Africans is found the earliest mention when it comes to writings and texts. The earliest mention of those names are found in the modern day English books of the 16th, 17th, 18th century. Okay? Even when we deal with Egypt, yes, Egypt is a Greek word, but it derives from the native people, the Egyptians, from Hekapata. That is where Egypt derives from. Ethiopia. Ethiopia is a Kemetic word. And that is what the people call themselves. That's why the Greeks put it in their text. Because that's what the people was calling themselves during that time. We're dealing with different time periods here. Okay? And like even with Sudan is an Arabic word that they apply to the land sub-Saharan Africa, and it got to a point where the people in sub-Saharan Africa started calling themselves Sudanese, and that is probably like the only word that the natives did not call themselves, which is Sudan. That is a word that was given to that land by the Arabs. But when it comes to Ethiopia and all, yes, it's found in the Greek text. It's found in the Greek text because that's what the people were calling themselves. The Greeks wouldn't have wrote it down if they hadn't heard it from the people, from the native people. That's why the Greeks wrote it down, because that is what the native people was calling themselves. And I'm going to make videos as well about the origins of the word Ethiopia. Yeah, a lot of y'all don't know the origins of the word Ethiopia, and you've been told that Ethiopia means burnt face, and no, that is a lie. Ethiopia does not mean burnt face. That is a late term that was made up by modern day European writers in order to slander Ethiopia. That's a derogatory term to make it seem as if the Ethiopians were suntan Caucasians. They don't have to be called burnt face because they were already black. But they're telling you that they were burnt face because they want you to believe that they were suntan Caucasians. That is the whole reason behind that. So when someone tells you that Ethiopia means burnt face, you tell them no, that is a lie. Ethiopia does not mean burnt face, and that has nothing to do with the original ancient text. No historian, no ancient Greek historian ever said Ethiopia means burnt face, and they never associated Ethiopia with burnt face. Okay, but the Ethiopians were black, and the word Ethiopia. Okay, now I'm going to tell you this, and I'm going to prove it later. I'm telling you now. The word Ethiopia actually derives from the word ta'apet. Yes, because I don't mind telling my knowledge, but if you want to see me prove it, then stay tuned for that video. But that word is associated with Apet, the feast of Apet, because when you get into the records of Homer, he mentions the Ethiopians. He mentions the feast of Zeus or the feast of Amen. Zeus is Amen, and that is associated with the feast of Apet. That is where Ethiopia derives from, and that's why they call themselves Ethiopians. That is what they call themselves. Like even this word Thebes, Thebes, which is modern day Luxor or ancient Waset in the Medu. Thebes also meant Ta'apet. So pretty much Thebes and Ethiopia had the same meaning. Yes. And we find Ethiopians all the way in sub-Saharan Africa. That is your connection to ancient Kemet. That is your ancient connection to ancient Kemet. That is the truth you have not been told. Okay. Okay. Ethiopia, no, it's not just Kush. Like even those two words, they have they have different sound. The sound is not similar. Okay. But just like I told you, Ethiopia has a lot to do with our pets, people, the our pet people, the land of our pets. Yes. And I'm going to make a video getting off into that. I'm going to prove it later. But yeah, that is what it is. And this is applied to us and only us. This is ours. Okay. We are the foremost descendants of the ancient Egyptians. And we can't let no one else tell us that, tell us otherwise. Okay. But yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm about to end it here soon. Are there any questions? Gonna take about 10 minutes to answer questions. But yeah, I just wanted to make this video to let you guys know that things will get back normal for me. Things are pretty crazy right now. We live in the hard times. I'm having trouble with my camera equipment, and I'm trying to become a full-time YouTuber. And for my Patreon, I haven't posted that much content on there. I only have one video on there. But when I post more content on there, I will let you know. And then but yeah, only had like 2 people join my Patreon. I only got one video on there. But yeah, but it can be done. Now, this got the script completed. Okay. I got the movie script completed. And in this movie, and my plan is to film a low budget movie first. That's what I'm going to do when I move to LA. And I connect with some of my old friends that used to work with me. But yeah, I live in Atlanta right now, but I plan on moving to Los Angeles to made in. Let's move this over some better connection on here. Okay, seems like I'm you know and you might see me doing my do every once and because but there's stuff. And I did a couple short movies, but I'm going back. I'm going back to Los Angeles. You know, and I'm going to make this movie happen. Like everything that I can do is it's in the works right now. I got the script done. I'm getting some props done as well. But yeah, I mean, so yeah, look out for that. But yeah, I don't know what's going on here. Um, I think my connection is off. But yeah, I'm about to end it here. Okay. So so yeah, peace out, royal family.